Black Clover chapter 306, and we got some interesting developments regarding this chapter that just released. I say it because we got some backstory regarding Zenon, and we got some possible foreshadowing on who's the possible mastermind and other stuff that's going on in this chapter. But before I get into all the theatrics, welcome to the channel, guys. If you're new, my name is Packapunchtv, and I review and break down recent chapters of Black Clover. If you enjoy or learn something from this video, be sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel a lot. If you'd like to stay up to date on my weekly Black Clover reviews / discussions, be sure to subscribe. Alright, so with all the theatrics out of the damn way, Black Clover chapter 306, called Boundary. We left off at where Langris is holding off Zenon's attacks until Yuno successfully charges and prepares his attack. And I don't know if you know already, Langris already admitted that and acknowledged Yuno as the true vice captain for the Golden Dawn. And Yuno's attack is prepared, and he brings forth an attack called the Spirit of Euros, which is arrow. Which, fun fact, it still follows the concepts where Yuno's attacks are based all on the Greek wind gods from the Amoi. Like Boris, the North Wind Greek god, which is the halberd that he uses to body Zenon in the early part of their battle. Zephyros is the West, and you know this by the blade he wields a lot of the times. And Euros is obviously the East, is the archer weapon that, you know, he uses now. Yuno aims and fires the arrow, and it instantly blows a hole through Zenon. Zenon complements its speed, and not only that, it penetrated his body pretty easily from what it looks like. Mind you, Zenon received a massive amp, and a defensive amp, and a regeneration amp due to the underworld gate being open. So this attack is even more dangerous than halberd, and it makes sense obviously because he actually had to save and prepare for this attack, and he had to put Langris's life on the line, and it was definitely not easy for Langris to hold him off. Zenon anyways. But as Zenon is coughing up blood, Yuno said our tenacity wins this one, and we go have a flashback of Zenon's early childhood. And we have Vanica and Dante taunting Zenon for getting beat up because he's actually roughed up in the face. He has a bruise on his cheek, and he got a little scratch on his forehead. And we figured out that Zenon and Vanica and Dante have an older brother, and this older brother tells Zenon that he has a greater aptitude for being a devil host than Dante and Vanica. And what's alarming is he also says, "You're like me." So this is huge news. For one, we have an older brother that originally planned for the Dark Triad to be devil host and probably cultivated the plan to take over the Spade Kingdom and open the underworld. Two, this brother probably was a devil host as well. Three, since he was a devil host, who was his devil host? And it makes sense because why this character exists, and it makes sense why this character exists. For one, Tabitha teased us during Notch's flashback that the three supreme devils control the underworld, and those three devils were gravity, time, and space, which makes complete sense since Dante's devil, Lucifero, controls gravity, Zenon devil controls space, and I bet that older brother's devil controls time. Because Vanica's curse did not really fit the narrative of the devils who controlled the underworld at all. Let's get back to the chapter. We get Zenon getting beat up on some kids calling his magic creepy, and this kid then proceeds to punch Kid Zenon with his spike hand rock, and the kid is literally trying to kill Zenon until a kid named Alan comes to save Zenon by putting a fire between Zenon and the kid. I'm not sure if he actually burned the kid who was about to punch Zenon, but it looks he at least put the fire in between them, from what we can tell in the panel. And Alan has an uncanny resemblance to Asta, and I forgot to mention this. Zenon as a child resembles Yuno so much, and I believe this is done perfect, and I'll explain why later on. Alan then proclaims that his dream is to protect the people of the Spade Kingdom from rebellions, the Diamond Kingdom, and he hopes to shine a light of hope across the land. and he proclaims he wants to be the commander-in-chief of the Mage Defense Force. And what's funny, Zenon is so in awe, and he said he wants to be the commander-in-chief too. Alan then says, I guess this means that we're rivals, the classic word. And I love this parallel in comparison between Zenon and Yuno and Alan and Asta. This is deliberately done, and I'm gonna go a little bit into detail why. They go have a little montage where they train against each other, both developing their abilities throughout time. And Zenon then tells his older brother later on in this montage that he's no longer interested in becoming a devil host, which is not probably what the brother wanted to do, because he probably was planning it. Zenon is abandoning his lone life to ensure his dream to become the commander-in-chief of the Mage Defense Force of the Spade Kingdom alongside his rival Alan. So we get a fast forward upon Zenon and Alan's post-mission, where the brass of the defense force is complimenting two of the new members, Alan and Zenon. And they even call Zenon a genius, whereas in the beginning of this flashback, he was kind of, he was a creepy and pathetic kid at the beginning. The only people that believed in Zenon were his older brother, and Alan. And what a drastic change for Zenon. So something happened at the dungeon, and Zenon and Alan's squad was called for assistance. And little did they know that they had to battle a devil. And this devil slaughtered the squad. A lot of them. And not everybody, but it slaughtered a lot of the squad. And some squad members even know that the devil was sealed under the dungeon, and they had no clue that a devil was sealed under there. And Zenon's preparing his ultimate magic spell in order to defeat the devil, but the thing is, there was no openings for him to attack. And as Zenon is thinking, Alan, the Asta parallel he is, hypes himself up and screams, I'm going to be the commander-in-chief of the Mage Defense Force. I can't lose here. And he brings out his flaming blade, like Asta parallel, and Zenon screams, you will die. And a dark and messed up thought comes into Zenon's head. If he attacks Alan as he's holding the devil in place, he will kill the devil and save the kingdom. Zenon, throughout this whole thing, he's trying to justify the reason why to kill his best friend in order to kill the devil. And as we see, Zenon uses bone magic to pierce Alan and the devil, and basically killing Alan and the devil. Zenon then says to himself, without power, neither emotion nor tenacity means a thing. And I believe the word that triggered this flashback was tenacity. Longris and Yuno had. Their teamwork brung upon this flashback. That's why earlier in this arc of Black Clover, the theme was power for Zenon. Like when he pushed Yuno back by going 55%, he's like, you're not weak, I'm just far stronger. And he said, I'm just far stronger. He said, this is all for the benefit of the Spade Kingdom. And this was at chapter 239, I believe. And it's quite poetic that Zenon, a person whose theme is power, makes Yuno question his power and makes Yuno experience the pain of loss. In turn, that makes Yuno so much more powerful to take on Zenon. But he does it alongside his comrades, not stabbing them in the back per se, with their tenacity. Upon Alan's death, though, Zenon is crying, and his dark thoughts say the weak should be discarded. Overwhelming power is everything. Zenon then goes to his older brother and then asks him to make him a devil host. And looking at Zenon's perspective, if he were more powerful, he could have achieved what no one else could have done. If he was more powerful, he could have saved his friends and his accomplishments. He could have saved anything. And Zenon and Yuno's lack of strength between both of their lows led them to their friends dying, which in turn made them both stronger. Zenon chooses overwhelming power and basically solitude to a certain degree, whereas Yuno chooses power, but he trained alongside his former vice captain Langris and decides to have him assist him in his battle against the overwhelming force of Zenon. This is very big keys. Both characters are mirroring each other, but the path they both take are completely different. And now that's some freaking good writing. So let's get back to the chapter here. It goes fast forward to what is present, and we have Zenon, like half of his skeleton mask is breaking off, and then he asks his devil Beelzebub to make a deal, which is crazy because you can still make a I didn't know you can still make a deal with your devil after having 100% power as a devil host. So Zenon will not only sacrifice his ideals for power, but this time he will sacrifice most likely his body as well, similar to Asta when he had to make a deal and get rid of his arm for Libby in order to obtain more power. But with this sacrifice, Zenon will probably be the strongest devil host of the Dark Triad that we know of. This is just a theory, but that older brother, that older brother, he's definitely a devil host of the Time Devil. Not only that, I think he planned the demise of Alan since it made Zenon go against his original plans, since he had such an aptitude to be a devil host. This older brother is in the shadows, probably watching everything. And not only that, what's interesting, despite not extensive investigation of the Dark Triad for years, this brother is nowhere to be mentioned or have a flashback. This is pretty interesting. I really enjoy this chapter. It's very spot on, I really enjoy the flashbacks. It provides a lot of substance for Zenon. The parallel between Zenon and Yuno is on point. They had very similar personalities, but each followed a path completely different from one another. It was a really great chapter, and the Asta Alan parallel was great as well, the rivals, and it just gets you thinking in a different way. Thank you everyone for watching this review / discussion all the way through. If you got here already, greatly appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button because every like matters. Let me know your thoughts on the Zenon and Yuno parallel and the dynamics in the comments. And also, what do you think about that older brother? I believe he definitely has the Time Devil, because why not? Well guys, if you'd like to see more Black Clover reviews, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you again, and I can't wait to see you guys next chapter. So stick around and subscribe. Peace!